Proxy wars. A proxy war is defined as an armed conflict between two opposing sides, where they use third parties as substitutes for fighting each other directly. Proxy wars are noted as a form of modern imperialism, enabling major powers to avoid direct confrontation with each other as they compete for influence and resources. One of the most famous examples is the Cold War. To give some context, the Cold War involved the United States and its allies against the Soviet Union and its satellite states, such as Albania and Bulgaria. During these times, smaller wars such as the Korean War, Cuban War, and Vietnam War were created, making most of the Cold War proxy wars. The Korean War, for instance, was primarily fought between South Korea, supported by the United States, and North Korea, which was backed by the Soviet Union. The US used South Korea to serve as a proxy to fight in their war against North Korea. They utilized the Korean Peninsula as a proxy battleground for their war. But all of these wars are public, high profile, and well documented wars. How would you feel if I told you that the United States of America running similar scale operations but very low profile all around the world? You would be pretty shocked, right? For nearly 2 decades, the Department of Defense has used 3 different laws to conduct these acts. They are listed as 10 United States Code Section 127 Echo or 127 Echo, 10 United States Code Section 333 or 333, and Section 1202 of the National Defense Authorization Act. While I will briefly touch upon the provisions of 333 and 1202, I will delve more deeply into the implications and applications of 127 Echo. According to infogov.gov, 127E serves as a means to combat terrorism, provide intelligence to foreign forces, as well as allocate financial support of up to $100 million for these operations. However, the interpretation and application of the law soon becomes stretched beyond its original intent, allowing the United States to exert influence and control over proxy wars that may engage in hostilities on behalf of or alongside U.S. forces. According to BrennanCenter.org, 333 permits the Department of Defense to train and equip foreign forces anywhere in the world. This is quickly taken advantage of, where U.S. forces involve themselves in combat situations under the guise of self-defense, often where the U.S. has not openly declared their operations. Section 1202 expands upon 127 Echo principles. Unlike its predecessor, which focused on supporting U.S. counterterrorism efforts, Section 1202 extends the scope to include support for U.S. irregular warfare operations against rogue states such as Iran. This allows the Department of Defense to gain significant latitude in conducting military activities without the need for explicit congressional authorization or oversight. One thing that is common in all of these is the fact that nobody knows much about these programs and that there is very little oversight and accountability for these operations. This allows the US government to get away with whatever they want to do. According to The Intercept, there are 23 127 Echo programs around the world that were identified between 2017 and 2020. Some of these names are Enigma Hunter in Egypt, Lion Hunter in Lebanon, Yukon Hunter in Yemen, as well as Obsidian Lotus, and 17 other names. Some more include these identified by Vice News. The code names reflect the objectives or characteristics of these operations in some way. Hunter suggests the pursuit or elimination of elusive targets. Tower suggests a sense of height or dominance related to the operation. According to The Intercept, one of these programs that occurred in Tunisia was called Obsidian Tower, where the US government alongside the Tunisian government held counterterrorism efforts against Al-Qaeda. They even started a battle at Mount Semama, where U.S. Marine Corps raiders fought alongside Tunisian forces against militants. Another example of an undercover proxy war is Obsidian Nomad 1 and 2. These are two 127 Echo counterterrorism programs in Niger, with Obsidian Nomad 1 in Diffa and Obsidian Nomad 2 in Arlit. The genesis of Obsidian Nomad can be traced back to when the Islamic State ambushed U.S. troops in Niger, resulting in the deaths of 4 American soldiers and the injury of 2. Initially categorized as providing advice and assistance to local forces, it was later disclosed that they were collaborating with the Nigerian unit as part of Operation Juniper Shield, which is a broader counterterrorism initiative in Northwest Africa. In conclusion, the use and impact of proxy wars cannot be understated. The US in particular has been in over 50 public proxy wars, helping gain territory and influence. However, concerns arise when clandestine operations are conducted across the globe, often exceeding the boundaries of necessity and legitimacy. This not only raises ethical questions, but also incurs substantial financial costs. A striking example is the expenditure of $310 million on such programs from 2017 to 2020 alone. This massive allocation of resources warrants scrutiny and raises eyebrows, particularly considering the lack of transparency and oversight surrounding these operations. The Intercept reports that Congress does not even know that they exist and that the programs were designed to prevent oversight. Furthermore, the sheer number of these programs, exceeding 80, underscores the scale and scope of U.S. involvement in proxy warfare. There are also more African operations than in any other part of the world. The exploitation of legal loopholes allows these activities to continue without facing significant repercussions or any public scrutiny. As we grapple with the revelation of 23 proxy wars conducted between 2017 and 2020, one cannot help but wonder how many more clandestine wars remain hidden from public view, shrouded in secrecy and beyond our awareness.